Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful afternoon. We welcome you to this session. Here with me, I have Aaqib. Uh, First, I'm Medha. I'm Medha Saraiya, the CEO of Connects Health. Connects Health is an online platform providing many different services, including connecting PSWs, pharmacy deliveries, and ABA therapy. Um, this particular session has been hosted by Wisdom AI, and I have Aaqib from Wisdom AI joining us today. Aaqib, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Great meeting you, Medha. My name's Aaqib Azeem. I'm Vice President of Product here at Wisdom. Uh, I lead product development and innovation here at the company. Previously, I think I've been at Wisdom for about 3 years, and before that, I worked at Deloitte as part of Deloitte's artificial intelligence practice, Omnia. So I've been in the AI machine learning space for quite some time now.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure having you here with us today. Um, can you tell us a little bit about what Wisdom AI does?
Yeah, absolutely. So Wisdom, we offer conversational AI uh, operations as a service, and I know it's a mouthful, so I'll explain what I mean there. Uh, Conversational AI is a pretty large space, right? And within conversational AI, what I'm mainly kind of talking about is chatbots and virtual assistants, virtual agents. And what Wisdom does is we make chatbots and these virtual assistants better, right? We make them smarter, we optimize them, and we improve the overall experience. For those of you who don't really know what chatbots are or virtual assistants are, I'm sure you've kind of interacted with your Google Home or Alexa. If you're at home, I might have probably kicked a couple of those on, but we essentially optimize the experience in terms of speaking and understanding what customers are saying or people are saying. You'll probably have more of our interactions within enterprise experiences. So we optimize for large clients like Rogers and Shaw, and in the retail space like Lululemon and Home Depot, and like we're kind of everywhere. Like you have applications in utilities with like Hydro One, right? You have utilities in banking with like CIBC and Tangerine. So we're kind of all over the place. And if you're ever kind of speaking to a virtual experience, it's probably a Wisdom experience. So, and as part of that, we're making sure that customers are getting the answers that they need. Don't need to speak to a human, right? So you're not waiting those large, long wait times, and getting to a resolution faster.
That's really interesting. And I'm sure, as you said, all of us have come across that at some point. Um, so within AI field, I know you mentioned a little bit about chat boxes. And I know before we started this conversation, you and I were chatting a bit about it, and you were telling me how they work. So can you share that with our audience, how you enhance that experience, as you said?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of chatbot platforms out there, and Wisdom was actually one of them. We used to be a chatbot platform vendor. We're kind of removed a little bit out of that space, and we're more focused on the operations, so making chatbots smarter and letting the chatbot vendors kind of provide that solution. So, and I know a lot of you might know chatbot vendors, but for those of you who don't, like the top kind of contenders, like from Google, there's like Dialogflow. From like Amazon, there's Lex. From Microsoft, there's like Bot Framework and PVA. Right. So there's those, and then there's obviously mid-market clients as well. But these platforms, the way that they leverage AI is it's something called a classifier. And what the classifier is doing is it's understanding what you're actually talking to it, whether it's on the phone through voice or through text. It's trying to understand what you're asking, right? You could be asking about, why is my bill so high? Or, give me I would like to purchase a new shirt. For the AI model to understand what you're asking and then be able to serve up some content that we've actually put together, is the part where AI is leveraged. And in this case, we're using supervised machine learning to be able to generate that content for the customer. We don't use unsupervised, just because with unsupervised, you don't know what response you're going to be getting from the chatbot, versus for our enterprise clients, we've kind of tailored that experience. We know exactly what the responses are going to be, and we're continuously optimizing to make sure that we're covering every single possible question you would be asking with a brand for that specific client.
And that is so good, because if you're a typer like me, trust me, you will make a typo or you will misspell something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can say it any different variations, right? People have different ways of typing. They use emojis, right? It's for the chatbot to be able to actually truly understand that, and then be able to, kind of even match your speaking style or texting style, and be able to kind of respond back to you, is where, we're working on personalizing and improving that experience.
That's great. So I believe you are hiring for some roles. Can you kind of briefly talk about what roles are you hiring for right now?
Yeah, we are hiring for, I think, over 12 different roles, ranging from sales and marketing, operations, even our engineering teams. So we really have, even with the economic downturn, we're pretty, Wisdom is growing. So we're pretty good in terms of hiring for different levels. If you're coming out of school, or if you're an experienced data scientist in the industry, we have roles for kind of all ranges within those categories.
That's great. So at this point, I'm sure on the chat somewhere they have put in a link on where to go to look up jobs, and
Yeah, and
they're gonna.
if
Go
you
ahead.
want, if it's a very easy link. If it's not up in the chat, it's wysdom.ai/careers. You'll see all the careers that are available, and feel free to even kind of reach out to me on LinkedIn if you'd like, if you have any questions about any of the roles.
Thanks so much, Aaqib. Quick question for you. Why is hiring in AI becoming increasingly challenging? Like, what do you and how do you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say there's two main reasons. One being AI in general is a very large space, right? There's many different areas of AI. There's like vision and like autonomous cars, and the space we're in, which is NLP. And then within NLP, there is an even larger space, right? So there's so many different kind of areas to kind of work in. And we're in this space called conversational AI, right? And within conversational AI, it's more focused purely on automating conversations. And this is a very difficult task. So being able to find individuals that have the experience of working on chatbot platforms, who built out chatbots, is very rare, obviously, because not everyone is spending their weekends like me building out chatbots or trying to figure out how to improve chatbot experiences, right? So a lot of that is around just education and what you're kind of taught in school, and some of that is personal experience, right? Like what you do outside of school, and improve on that. So we're kind of looking for individuals that have a good AI foundation. They know how some of these systems work. Even though you might not be a conversational AI expert, that's completely fine. But being able to, obviously being a fast learner on those spaces, and being able to pick up some of these concepts is going to be key. So that's one of the large areas, like it's hard for us to hire because of that lack of expertise in that space. And then the other is obviously just competition. Like the market right now is, as everyone knows, is really hot, especially for AI specific jobs. And especially if you're someone that has a couple of years of work experience and maybe a technical STEM education, then you're a really good candidate for a lot of these roles. And there's so many of these kind of roles available in the market as well.
I know it's been a challenging market for all sectors, frankly, not only within IT, but I would say even for us in healthcare. It's hiring and retention is one of the challenges. Uh, talking more about hiring, you mentioned like you're looking for certain things in a role. Besides the technical aspect, what else do you look for in your candidates?
Yeah, it's we're a startup, right? And compared to large enterprises, startups are usually looking for someone that's a little bit more of a generalist, someone that can wear multiple hats, take on things that might be outside of their regular day-to-day role. Someone that's quick on their feet, fast learner. I think I kind of discussed that, but more importantly, someone that can actually, we are a data-driven company. right? So somebody that can tell a story with their data is key, because almost everyone within a company is been involved in telling a story, whether it's you're in the marketing and the sales side, being able to tell a story with the products we've kind of built, whether it's in the operations side, being able to explain to a client how this experience or journey will actually be built out, and why it's actually useful, or obviously within the engineering side, being able to understand like why these requirements are being built to build out specific features, right? So someone that is able to understand that at the ground level and able to put things together and a little bit think outside the box, those are the kind of individuals we're kind of looking for.
You know what? You touched upon some few very interesting points. You mentioned something which are more technical skills, but you also looked at some of the soft skills.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you know, like, would you be able to verbalize what are the soft skills that you're looking for, or transferable skills that you're looking for?
Yeah, like you don't need to be a senior data scientist or NLP machine learning like engineer to apply for a lot of these roles. What we're looking for is someone that is, can understand requirements, right? Take a client's use case and put it together as part of the solution, right? Being able to work with clients, like majority of in our operations business is working with the clients and really understanding what their pain points are and working towards actually solving those pain points is the key piece, right? And we are technically the technical team that puts that together to be able to answer those questions. But more importantly, if you don't even understand the requirements well enough, or you can't translate it, then you won't even be able to, no matter how technical you are, you won't be able to build out an appropriate solution. So taking those requirements, really understanding what the customers are talking about, being able to even communicate your solution once you've actually built it out is also valuable to be able to show the value of what you've actually built.
And you know what? This brings me to this. There's a cartoon that's been being passed around on LinkedIn, where what the business want, and at the end, what the developers develop. And it's like starts off with a chicken and you get a donkey at the end.
Yeah. And that's, it happens a lot in the industry because, I think traditionally everyone wants to wow someone, right? So they, it's a grand reveal. They like open the curtains and they show them based off what they've asked for. And it's never what they want, especially if you're not using an agile methodology of like step by step, involving the customer as part of the journey. You're never going to match that person's requirement from just getting the initial requirements, right? So it's always important to, keep a feedback loop, keep iterating on your solution, and then the final solution will be, close or not if exactly the same of what the customer is hoping for.
So just to sum up the soft skill part, what I'm understanding is like your communication is a big part of what you're looking for.
Absolutely.
We actually have a question in the chat. It says, do you offer any specific training if someone were to join Wisdom AI?
Yeah, so the benefit of Wisdom is we know that, like I said, the conversational AI space is it's a much smaller space, and it's impossible to find someone right out of school that's trained in the space. So what we do, we have a lot of programs within our teams that actually upscale individuals in either a specific platform or specific industry, or a combination of both, where we're actually even training you on how to use a specific platform, best practices. We're the experts in this industry, so we want to make sure that you're on par before you go in front of a client. So we spend a lot of that time kind of upscaling our new hires on what we expect in terms of our solutions, and how to even use some of the platforms, right? And as part of that, that's where we need someone that's like a quick learner, able to understand things, grasp concepts relatively well, understand how to tell stories, because those foundational elements are going to be very crucial in being able to take those technical requirements and put them together.
So if I understand this, what you're looking for is the technical part. You do want them to have some kind of a foundation. Obviously, you don't want someone like me from healthcare doing AI who has no clue of what they are doing. But at the same time, you do want some soft skills like communication, understanding, understanding customer service. What I'm getting is a lot of the customer service, making sure your customer needs are met.
Yeah, I would even say like I wouldn't necessarily say we require you to have a technical background even, right? We have hired a lot of people in linguistics, psych, physics, right? A lot of those backgrounds, because what we've learned is a lot of those foundational elements that you learn is what we're looking for, right? That you obviously you could get from a technical STEM specific, you know, program, but you pick up a lot of these elements in other programs. So we've hired a lot of like some of our linguistics, students have done exceptionally well at Wisdom because they understand the importance of language, right? They might not have that technical background, but that's something we can train them on, right? It's a lot of this technology is relatively new. A lot of it's no code or very little code. So for us to build out those additional capabilities, we can definitely do that. But the foundation, what they bring to the business, is more valuable to us.
You know what? And that is, you've hit such a good point because at the end of the day, you and I believe that skills can be taught, attitudes and personalities cannot be.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I 100% believe that.
So we have a few more questions in the chat, and I'm going to take them up as we go.
Sure.
With the work environment, is it hybrid or in office, or what? How does Wisdom work?
So we're actually like we used to be completely in office. Now we're fully remote, and we do offer in office experience for people that would like to actually go into the office. We have a different kind of remote workspaces that you can kind of sign up for, and you can go and you can work within the office. And we have like throughout the week, we have teams that kind of meet up at specific locations. So you're not just like there by yourself; you're there with like your team members. So and then obviously we have a lot of like social gatherings and offsites to kind of capture the water cooler piece that we're kind of missing out with the virtual environment. So primarily we're pretty remote, and as well as from a hiring perspective, anywhere in Canada, we're looking for individuals. We have people in Vancouver, we have people in Calgary, Edmonton, people all over. So location isn't a restriction for us.
You know what? And that's wonderful. And I love the fact that you're accounting for the water cooler chats too.
Yeah. Oh, they're important. Yeah, especially for you forget how many interesting ideas get thrown out, and how much collaboration gets done at those water coolers. So we don't want to lose that as well. We're a startup, we're energy. We want to keep those conversations going.
The next question we have is regarding diversity and inclusion. So how do you accommodate for that?
So we actually have a team that's focused on diversity and inclusion within the company. So their focus is, they have events. They make sure also within the chatbot experiences, a lot of our experiences, I can speak to one of our experiences with one of our clients that's public, Lululemon. We are actually building a wellness chatbot. And as part of the wellness chatbot build, we're making sure that diversity and inclusion is a big piece. And we have an AI ethics board that listens to and monitors what we're actually building out to make sure that whatever we're building out is ethically inclusive, and is making sure that it's reaching every single kind of demographic within obviously Canada, but then also internationally as well, right? So not only at Wisdom do we care about that, but a lot of our solutions have to be inclusive in nature, right? So those are some of the examples of like where some of these ethics, with the inclusion team kind of focuses their efforts and time on.
You know what, that's really wonderful, because in today's world, that is so important, that everybody is represented and everyone's voices are heard. So how do you make careers in AI rewarding, especially in today's world when we know like retention is challenging?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say from a rewarding perspective, what we're looking to do is upscale the individual in the space we're in, right? So we allow a lot of training obviously internally that we've kind of put together in terms of curriculum. But then also externally, like we know there's all these kind of certifications that we work, we're partnered with a lot of the big tech giants. And from a certification standpoint, we have to be at par for those partnerships. So there's a lot of opportunities internally to get those trainings done for free. So we make sure that we're kind of always making our employees are at the top of their profession in terms of knowing everything in conversational AI, because they're the SMEs, right? They're the experts, the subject matter experts when they go to speak to clients, and we expect them to actually know that information when when they're put in front of a client.
That leads me to my very next question is, besides the professional development from the technical side, what are the other growth opportunities for individuals within the company?
Yeah, so obviously our team is growing not only in the professional services or the technical kind of resources, but also from upscaling of individual like managerial experience, right? So it's being able to manage large cohorts of teams that deal with the client on a day-to-day basis, right? Being able to manage multiple projects, learning and working in an agile environment, right? So a lot of those kind of capabilities are key, and especially like when you're in the job workforce environment, like this is the new way of working. You're seeing a lot of large enterprises also shifting their work style to a similar startup, mid-size kind of work style where they don't feel like they're just a number at the company, right? They have some kind of voice and input towards the product and the vision of the entire business. So, as from a startup, we make sure that we do that right from the ground up and making sure that we focus on our team's growth, because what we're offering is obviously the tools and the platform, the data and the services, but then more importantly, we're offering the talent, right? So we're offering the individuals, the experts that we've trained for clients to learn from, and then also to get the solutions built out from.
And you know what? There are a few things that you really touched on that are very interesting. Is you're not only helping them grow their technical skills, but you're also helping them grow their soft skills, which are very transferable. Like some of the skills you mentioned, they can easily be transferred to other industries like healthcare.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And even within the healthcare space, and this is where, we're looking for somebody that can wear multiple hats. What we notice is the individuals that join Wisdom, like depending on the clients that you work on, you get some sort of an industry specific experience in terms of like you're more CPG, you're more healthcare, you're more banking, right? You look, because you're working with those clients, you tend to be more knowledgeable about what a banking experience should be versus a retail experience, right? And then working towards that, and obviously like different individuals fall within different industries. Like they enjoy, like me personally, I love CPG, just because I used to consult for CPG as well. And my preference is to be able to kind of do digital transformations and understand how we can actually change consumer interactions, right? So that's my interest. But we have tons of people that love banking, right? They want to be able to understand how to optimize and improve and operate these banking kind of experience, banking kind of chatbot solutions, and build out these transactional experiences that don't maybe exist today, right? And that will really kind of push the envelope in terms of getting a quote or opening up an account without actually having to speak to a human agent.
And it's very interesting how we can do those things today. 20 years ago, I can't imagine opening an account without talking to a human agent.
Yeah, and without signing a million papers, right? And right now we're getting to a point where everything is being digitized, right? And the only way that we're going to keep moving forward is making sure that we're looking at automation at every step of this journey. And as part of this, making sure that we're automating correctly and ethically as well, right? Making sure the experience is good. It's as good as speaking to a human agent, faster, if not more knowledgeable, so that if you don't have to be available during 9 to 5 to be able to get your questions answered by your bank. Your personal banking service agent will always be available for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, personalized to your portfolio even, right? So that's the level of experience and personalization you can get with automation and with like conversational AI and chatbot experiences.
Yeah, that's impressive how far technology has come, and it always amazes me.
Yeah,
Before I go to the questions in the chat, I actually
sure.
have another question for you. Can you comment a little on how you feel about outsourcing marketing and its impact on AI recruitment sector?
Okay, so just like outsourcing the specific roles or jobs, right? Okay, so yeah, personally, and this is also kind of a wisdom policy. We're looking to grow out Canadian talent, right? We put a lot of effort in terms of training the individuals within our ecosystem, so and within our communities that we're not looking to outsource those types of jobs or roles. But we do see it's becoming a more common trend within the industry where costs are getting high. No, to be honest, everyone knows that salaries are going up. People are churning from jobs, and it's hard to kind of maintain this workforce, especially with a very technical niche kind of workforce. It's really hard to kind of maintain that group without there being some kind of loss. So companies do look at outsourcing a lot of these roles elsewhere, because then they get some sort of stability, especially with the economic downturn. People are looking to like downsize, and you're seeing probably on LinkedIn, on the news, there's a lot of layoffs within companies, just so that they're preparing for if there is some kind of recession, right? Wisdom, thankfully we're a little different, because we've done well during the pandemic, as well as we're continuously still growing. We're able to manage things a little bit differently, right? Like we're investing a lot in our resources. We're investing obviously a lot in our tools and technology, and it's paid off dividends instead of leveraging just outside vendors from a resourcing perspective.
And that's very, how shall I say, I'm really amazed that you are keeping the talent within the country, because it is, as you said, sometimes very challenging to do so.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Yep, and especially with it was scary. I was reading news this morning about the inflation and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and because of inflation, and because of in Toronto especially, rising house prices, and being able to just live in Toronto, like this is one of the reasons we're pretty flexible, and we can be flexible, right? Just because we are remote, we are a technology company, right? So within the tech space, we can do things like this, where we can allow individuals to work anywhere in Canada, right? And we have people that have, as long as you're a Canadian citizen, you can even work somewhere else outside of Canada, as long as you're coming back and stuff. It's mainly based off our clients, right? Like making sure you're available during the hours the clients are kind of looking for, and being able to engage with the teams as well, right? You're available during the times the teams are available, so that you can collaborate and work with the teams.
That is wonderful. That gives people a lot of flexibility. Thank you so much. So some of the questions we have is, how important is knowing different languages important to the company, or is English the primary language that you work in?
So multi-language is key for us, right? So as you know, like conversational experiences are not just happened in English, right? So as part of that, when we do build out experiences that are natively maybe not English, like French or Spanish, or any of the, like, even I'm just kind of focusing on the North American specific ones, but if you're looking in Asia, right, Mandarin, Hindi, all of those languages, when we're building out those experiences, we want to make sure that somebody actually understands what the chatbot is saying, and how the experience is built out. We can only trust technology so much, right? We still need to do a human in the loop process of making sure that humans are actually part of the process of understanding what is being said, if it's accurate, is the content correct, and it's being serviced to customers. So being able to understand or knowing multiple languages is definitely a huge asset for us. Doesn't limit you if you don't, so don't get too worried. But if you do know, if you're multilingual and let's say you just know English and French, massive. It's a massive up in your resume. So make sure you include that as well.
And you know what? That is so important. One, having multilingual is always beneficial, but also what you said is technology can only do so much. I remember Ali Hirji telling me this on another conversation. It's always people, process, and technology.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree.
So no, it's very that's a very good takeaway. So please make sure that you are including your languages, you're including your soft skills on your resume, because those are also extremely important. Next question is, do you also run a live support center for your products? Like, is there anyone do you need 24/7 support or no?
So we don't do live agent support. We do live support in terms of like if the chatbot experience is down, or like, we'll be informed immediately. 24 hours, 7 days a week. Like we're on pager duty, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we have to kind of be on top of it, because especially in like peak hours for specific clients, if the conversational whatever experience, let's say it's a chatbot, if their chatbot experience is down, even for like a couple hours, we're talking like millions of dollars of money lost, right? So we need to make sure that we're available all throughout the day, and even into the night. Right?
That is good to know. So basically, someone's always around.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next question is, what are some of the new sectors that you're looking into? Like, are you looking into going more into healthcare, mental health? As you know, there's a huge emphasis on mental health right now. Is that some of the areas that you're looking into?
Yeah, speaking about mental health again, around the wellness chatbot that we're building, and you can actually, Google this up. You can look up the supercluster project, called as part of Wellness AI. So the supercluster is a Canadian entity that allows companies like Wisdom, and we're actually partnered with Lululemon as the vendor, that we're building out an experience around this wellness kind of experience. And this is a little bit different than your traditional chatbot experience within the retail application. Like if you're talking to the retail chatbot, that's not what I'm talking about in this case. That one is kind of servicing you to just help you purchase, give you recommendations, all that kind of stuff on the product. What we're focusing on the wellness side is a little bit around, mental health, physical health, right? Social, all of those kind of elements, and how a chatbot experience can actually help in that space. The government is obviously funding a lot of this because, as part of the pandemic, mental health it took a big toll. And what the research shows is all of these kind of mental health solutions there is a level of automation that you can support an individual before they maybe speak to a therapist or a healthcare provider, right? Where in the median, while they're waiting, because some of they're kind of overwhelmed, in the meantime, they can get some support, some training, some things to read and understand to help them before they actually get connected to a professional. And we also see, in our research, that there's people that specifically don't want to speak to a human because they feel they'll be judged, and they rather kind of speak to an AI solution instead, and kind of let out and get direction in terms of how to actually deal with that stuff without judgment.
And you know what? Those are very important points to note, because as you said, there's the judgment, that fear factor, but also unfortunately, your mental health issues or your stressors don't happen 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
They can happen at any point of day or night.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You might not have access to a therapist at 3 in the morning.
Oh, exactly. And you still need to be able to kind of, you want help to understand, like, what steps can I take now to at least mitigate or manage these issues until I can actually get professional help.
Yeah. No, and those are really helpful. And coming from the sector, within the sector, I can tell you it's a huge value added, because a lot of people do need that, unfortunately, post-pandemic.
Yeah.
Next question is how important is analytics to what you do at Wisdom?
I would say it is key in almost like 99% of the roles that you're going to be working in. We're, again, like I said, we're a data-driven organization, so analytics is a key piece. And this is one thing I would say from a career standpoint is important to note, because no one jumps into data science right away, right? You have to love data to be able to be a data scientist, right? You need to understand. You can start off the way I got into AI was I started off in like visualizing data, using things like Power BI, Tableau, Looker, and those stuff to be able to tell the story with the data. Then I moved more into the data engineering side, right, to be able to build these data structures and schemas and put together data to be able to explain what I'm kind of showing in the visualization piece. Then I moved more into the AI piece because I realized for us to get some of those fields and the features that you need to be able to tell the story, you need an AI solution to generate this information to be able to present it in an accurate format. So data analytics is key, because that's what the client will end up seeing at the end of the day, right? That's the trends and based off the use cases that you've presented, they're going to be looking at these dashboards and these reports on how the progression has been. And you won't be able to progress unless you're analyzing and tracking it on the chatbot experience to know where the gaps are and where you actually need to improve, but then also be able to track it from, showing the customer, right? Showing them where your KPIs are at now versus where they have gotten to and what your performance kind of looks like, right? And be able to track all of that information. So analytics, being able to tell a story, all of that is important because you're going to be doing it on a day-to-day basis. No matter if you're in a customer-facing role, in a sales role, there is some element of analytics throughout the business.
Thank you so much. And it's amazing how much data you can gather, but also how much of fake, false information's out there too. So that's
yeah. And as part of false information, we do that's another sector that we also kind of focus on, right? As part of looking at the information, making sure that the information that we're servicing up is accurate, is as true as can be. And this is where we have the experts to like really refine out the responses that we're giving customers. So we focus on in that space as well.
Thank you so much. Before we go on to the next question, I just want to remind all the viewers, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat so we can answer them, or we can get our expert here, Aaqib, to answer them. And moving on, Aaqib, the next question is, can you give some tips to our students on what to put on their resume and what not to put on their resume?
Sure. I think what I look for in resumes is obviously the amount of time I'm going to spend on a resume is anywhere between like 10 and 30 seconds. So what I want you to do is make an impact right off the bat, right? So if you're having like a 5-page resume, if you have 5 pages on your resume, I better hope there's like some insane experiences that couldn't be left off and that you had to include, right? There's a lot more scrutiny there. If your resume is like a 1 to 2 page resume, then that's a more reasonable thing that I would be able to kind of scan through and be able to figure out what your experiences is and what projects you've kind of worked on. And then around those, I would focus a little bit more around the actual experiences in terms of the projects you worked on. Doesn't matter if it was for work or even in your personal as your hobby or on the weekends or whatever. That doesn't really matter to me. It's more of like that you've gone into the space, you've built something, you've tried it out, and what you've kind of learned as part of this. Because that, when I see those project based, especially in our industry, within the tech industry, that's what we really care about. That you've really dived deep. You're not just looking at something at the service level, followed a tutorial, and that's about it. You really understood how the technology works, looked into the details of the specific functions even, and can explain that as part of the interview, because that's what's going to end up happening when you do get the interview, to kind of speak to those. It's going to be key for me to like look at your resume and be able to see, okay, you were able to do these things, but then also manage it in a like a workspace. Be able to take something that's a pet project and build it out for a real business case. That's the real connection I'm looking for, because that's what people are doing day to day at Wisdom.
That's great. And
I think the second question I think was around what not to include.
yeah.
I guess I kind of said what not to include in terms of like super long resumes, because honestly, I won't be able to read through a 5-page or 10. I've got like 10 page plus resumes at some points. I skim through it, but I'm very critical with those types of resumes. So I would say, keep it short and sweet. Focus on your top qualities, your highlights, right, and really kind of call out what tools and technologies, if you've used any, in those things, like highlight them, bold them, if that helps. Brings it kind of to light, right? Wherever my eyes are going to go, those are like the top areas. So what not to do is just cram a bunch of keywords that you think is going to get you the job, based off what you see in the I guess in the application, and not know any of it, right? So if you put it on your resume, I expect you to know it, because you will be interviewed on it. And in terms of, we don't expect you to be like an expert in like every single space within the AI space. Like, I'm not expecting you to be like no TensorFlow, but then also no I was going to use a terrible example, but you don't expect you to be able to like manage every single space within AI. Like, if you know some things and you're really good, like you're an expert Python coder, mention it. You don't need to be like Python, C, C++, Ruby. You don't have to go through your list of all your programming that you know slightly because you've touched on it. Not that useful for me. Like, if you're an expert in this thing and you know all of these additional things, great. Don't really focus on it, because if you don't have any projects, I won't believe you. So just focus on the stuff that actually matters, right? And that's what will actually outshine in the interview process as well.
And that's really good tip. So basically, just give us your highlight. Like, give us what you're great at, is what I'm getting.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good to know. The next question is there a probation period when someone joins Wisdom?
Yes, I think it's for certain roles it's 3 months, other roles it's 6 months, and that's just for us to make sure that you are the right candidate that you kind of presented to us, right? And sometimes, if you're doing such a exceptional job, probation periods are even less than that 3-month period.
I'm going to piggyback on that question. Is what are the benefits? Like, what does the benefits look like? Benefits, I'm going to make it a two-prong. Benefits as in the actual benefits, and benefits as how would an individual benefit by joining Wisdom as compared to any other competitors?
Yeah, so we have a ton. You can look at, obviously there's a lot on the website. You can have a look at all our specific benefits, but the ones that I enjoy are, we have no meeting Wednesdays, so no internal meetings. So this is just a day to kind of focus on and work on work that you need to do. We just know, like, within the remote environment, I'm stuck in meetings all day. So realistically, by the time it comes to like 5 or 6, I'm like, I actually have work to do and I haven't got to it, right? So this is where like a no meetings Wednesdays is key, because you don't have any internal meetings. You might have some client meetings if they're scheduled on that day, but no internal meetings, and you can kind of focus on that stuff. So that's like more on the work stuff. The more I know what people are asking around the incentives and stuff. So we do a lot of socials, right? Dinners. I think we're having a AI summit next week, the Wisdom AI Summit, where we're flying everyone in. We're doing it, I think, at the ROM or the AGO, I'm forgetting. But essentially, we're bringing everyone in. We're training everyone for any new hires, kind of baselining everyone so that everyone knows what the vision, how we're messaging, best practices within specific clients, everyone kind of learning from each other. We have a couple speakers that are some professors that are coming in to kind of talk about AI in the industry and specifically within conversational AI, talking about a lot of our success projects and things that have really come up. Just because the company is big, like you have, as much as it's a startup, we're still like almost 100 people, so you don't get to hear every single thing that's going on. So just kind of bring all that up, and then we're going on like a boat after and dinners and stuff. So that stuff is all there, and then within your individual teams, there is activities, and you probably see if you subscribe to us on LinkedIn and stuff, you probably see we went like tree top trekking in like Stouffville like a month back. So it's with just my team, right? So it's things like we're doing these activities consistently, just so that, like I said, like the water cooler effect, we don't want to lose it. We still want people to engage and be part of the community. And I'm sure there's a lot of other kind of additional benefits, financial benefits that I haven't kind of discussed yet. But just around bonuses and mental health and training and all that kind of stuff. Work from home budgets and all that stuff. So that all that stuff's there as well. So quite a lot.
You know what? That's amazing. But the only thing that stuck to me was the treetop trekking. That just sounds fabulous.
Yeah, it was great.
Next question we have is, what languages and tech stacks do you need to work with? Like, what do you need to know? What do you work with?
It depends on the role, right? If you're applying for like an NLP engineering role, I expect you to know different things than if you're applying for like a conversational AI specialist role. In those cases, like depends how technical the role is. And obviously just look at the job requirements when you're having a look at the careers. Just look at the skills you need and I guess if you're looking in terms of languages, programming languages, look at the programming languages. If you don't meet all of them, completely fine. Just still apply for the role. If you do meet a lot of them, and I think it even says that as part of the applications. We're not looking for someone that matches the application perfectly, right? That's not our objective. We're looking for smart, hardworking individuals, who can really take on this role and really evolve it, right? So if you don't meet the qualifications perfectly, completely fine. Please still do apply.
That is good to know. The next question we have is, could you comment on any sales position that you're hiring for as well?
Yeah, so top of funnel, we're still growing. We have like SDR positions, we have AEs. So we have a lot of those kind of positions available. We have a new sales leader, David Trotter, who just started I think about a month ago, and he's really building out the sales team. So amazing individual. I'm learning tons from him. So if you're looking for a sales specific role, I think he has a couple postings on the site as well.
Just out of curiosity, what does selling AI look like?
Oh.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Did I cut out for a second?
Yes, you did. It's good to have you back.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I think I cut out for a second. Yeah, I can hear you now.
So just out of curiosity, I wanted to ask you, what does selling AI look like? It's not like you're selling a box of chocolates, so it's a lot different.
Yeah, so it's there's two approaches, obviously, in selling AI. One is very easy. I'm sure everyone on this call at some point has had a bad experience with chatbots. And that's what our business is, right? Our business is to make chatbots smarter. So if you have a terrible chatbot, you need wisdom, is our pitch, right? So we know there's tons of clients with chatbot experiences that haven't been optimized. They've kind of been built and they've been left, and they expect them to like run on their own, right? Which they never do, right? So that's where we would come. We would find a poor chatbot experience, take over that experience, and then build out a better solution, customer experience for that. So we're always looking for bad chatbots in the industry, and then kind of being like, hey, here is what a good chatbot looks like. This is what we can take your chatbot and make it better. So that's one angle. The second angle is our partner. So like Google, Microsoft will kind of bring us in, and even like AWS will bring us in for their own chatbot that they have launched at a specific client, and they'll kind of use us as a means to be like, hey, use Wisdom to operate and run your chatbot to a good, build a better experience, just because they know their technology is good, but sometimes people are not using it correctly or building it accurately, right? So they can guarantee with Wisdom that the solution is built out correctly, and it's not, the customer blaming the platform vendor of like having a poor experience. It's more of the actual experience is there. It just needs to be built out accurately, right? And that Wisdom has that experience to do so.
You know what, and that is so important because, as you said, all of us at some point have had a bad experience. Or I still remember when you're going through the menu and press one and you just keep going through that loop and never ends.
Yeah. It's the worst, right? And that's where our business really shines, because you lose customer satisfaction heavily when things like that. You lose customers as a result of that. And what our pitch is like, and this is why we're so successful at all the companies we're at, is we are making sure that kind of experience doesn't happen, right? There's someone that is improving and training your chatbot experience so that it's building up, it's giving the best experience possible to your customers, while also maintaining operations costs.
And those are some very valuable for any organization, just like Wisdom AI connects health as a startup. So we understand the value, like if you lose a customer, what it means. Yeah. And customer retention is such a huge part of any industry. Before we continue, I just want to remind all the viewers, we have less than 10 minutes. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat so we can get Aaqib to answer them. The next question we have, is the summit open to public or is it just internal?
Yeah, so this summit, we have other events, but this specific summit is only for Wisdom employees. And again, like that's just because we want it to be in a space that we can share things without like NDAs and all that kind of stuff, and make sure the team kind of learns. But I think there's a lot of additional events that we throw throughout the year where, it's webinars and sessions where you can join in and learn a little bit more about what we do. And then of course, you'll probably hear me talk at different events. I don't know if everyone here is in the tech space, or people that are listening, if you're at the Collision conference, you'll probably hear me speak there as well. So you'll kind of see us all over the place. A lot of different leaders within Wisdom are kind of having these sessions or throwing these sessions or kind of speaking at different events.
So how do they find out what events are either hosted by Wisdom or Wisdom is going to be part of, and how can they attend? Yeah,
so we have a blog on our site. So if you follow us there, or even follow us on like LinkedIn or Twitter and stuff, you'll get up-to-date information on those events.
That's great. The question we have is, what are the KPIs that your clients are mostly focused on?
Yeah, great question. It really depends on a client-by-client basis, but generally, what clients usually care about is there's two things. They care about containment, or what we call true containment, and then there's satisfaction, right? And it's a little bit of a balancing act between these two, right? So I'll give you an example. So you can get full 100% containment by just putting a customer in a maze where they will never get to a human agent. When they're trying to get to a human agent, they're just kind of stuck talking to the chatbot experience, and then we're just sending them from one answer to another, and we're not answering any of their questions really, and they're kind of just really stuck on that solution, right? That is the worst experience. That customer will 100% cancel, right? But you get 100% containment. They will never speak to an agent, so you save the $5 or whatever it costs you to speak to a live agent, right? So in a cost savings, you'll save a lot, but you'll lose customers, so you don't want that. The other is customer sat, right? So customer sat is making sure you have the best possible experience, even if it means at some point the virtual agent is passing over the customer to a human agent, right? So even if that happens, it still builds a better customer experience, because if the virtual agent isn't too good at a specific experience and this is like a high value customer, rather pass this person over to a human and not try to answer this question and screw it up. Just give it to someone that will be able to handle the question better. Versus like a low priority, this customer is just probably kind of asking questions, not going to go with you. Then try to answer with the chatbot experience, right? So being able to manage that customer experience is a big thing. And this is our day-to-day, like what we're trying to do consistently, manage that lever or that seesaw of like containment and satisfaction, and that middle ground of having high satisfaction and high containment, where not every conversation is going to a human, is the golden middle, right? So that's what we're trying to get to.
So again, coming from a layperson, not non-tech person, it's very interesting how the transition happens from a chat box to a human. And is that something that you kind of build in when you're building in your AI, that it knows at this point, this is the handoff point, or how does that work?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different things that happen, right? One can be customer comes and asks a couple questions and they say, you know what, I don't even think you can answer it to me. They're like, can I speak to an agent? In that case, they're handed over to an agent automatically. They've just kind of asked for it. There's other instances where we pick up cues where the customer we know is not happy and needs to be escalated, whether they bring up something that's a specific keyword or profanity. If they start swearing at the chatbot, like, we'll escalate them, right? We know that they're upset. But if they say like, I want to cancel my services, we can try on the chatbot to retain them, but we know the chatbot might not be the best person to try to retain this customer. Hand it over to a human and let them try to save this customer from canceling, right? So there's different cues where the chatbot is like, okay, I think we're going to lose this customer, or this customer is really angry. Let's hand them over to a human and let the human kind of try to handle it. And we also see it back to a chatbot. So when it's at the human, we see like the human's like, oh, like let's say the customer asks for some other thing, and we're like, oh, okay, actually the chatbot is a better solution to actually help you, reset your password or whatever the case is you want to try to do then. So the human will hand you back to the chatbot, and the chatbot will walk you through resetting your password, right? So you're not wasting the human's time of like doing some mundane task that the chatbot can do a better, give you a better answer and walk you through that solution. So there's a lot of like handoffs at multiple, and we're trying to do it very seamlessly. It doesn't feel like you're waiting an hour to be transferred to one person, waiting an hour to be transferred to another person. It's like naturally you're being transitioned through a virtual or human experience consistently.
You know what? And that makes the customer experience so much better, because I'm sure everyone can relate to this, sitting on the phone for an hour, trying to get one question answered. And if your luck is like me, just when you get to the agent, the phone disconnects.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's the worst, right? And then there's no callback. Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah. So no, I completely like that. Really makes the customer journey and customer experience so much better. We do have, I believe, if I recall, we all have about 60 seconds left. So I am going to ask you to give your final comments, final thoughts.
Yeah, sure. We've been talking about the roles quite a lot. So if you're interested, like I said, please apply. If you have any questions, please reach out to me or anyone at Wisdom. We're more than happy to answer any of these questions. And it's great to kind of be talking about wisdom and conversational AI. And the reason why I, as a person within the AI space, focused on conversational, and this is something that you might be thinking as you're applying for AI specific roles. The reason why I chose conversational AI is it's going to be the largest space in the AI sector, right? Think of what you do on a daily basis. What do you do the most? You're talking to people, you're conversating, right? So those conversations, a lot of them can be automated, especially when you're talking to businesses and stuff. A lot of those conversations can be automated. And as part of that, it's the most difficult task. Conversations very difficult. Human to human conversations are very difficult to begin with, right? Like me as a human, I like speaking to someone. I think I'm having a great conversation, but the person might not think so as well, right? So it really kind of depends on what kind of situations and stuff. And we're trying to use AI to kind of solve this problem. And at some point in the future, you'll be conversating with everything. You'll be talking to your car. You'll be talking to, your front door, your toaster. Anything will have a conversation. You're already kind of seeing it already with all this Google Home and Alexa being integrated in IoT across all your different devices. But those conversations needs to be fluid and natural, right? I'm sure a lot of you have had those terrible experiences with your smart home devices, and you don't want to be stuck in those positions. You want it to kind of feel like it's your personal butler that's kind of following you around, managing things for you, rather than multiple disconnected devices that you have to kind of speak slowly and articulate your words to like get them to do what you're looking for, right? So that's our goal, right? At Wisdom, like make those chatbots and the conversational experience is so smart that it feels very natural, like you have a pure personalized experience, no matter if you're speaking to a brand or you're even speaking to your own personal solution.
You know what? Thank you so much. I personally have learned so much about Wisdom and what you guys do. So thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it. I also wanted to thank Durham College and AI Hub for this amazing hour, and hope everyone enjoyed. Thank you and have a wonderful rest of the day and enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, Medha.
Thanks.